Hello. Hello.
Glug, glub, glug, glub, glug.
Alright. Oh my god, I haven't played this game since February 15th. It has been over... Well, it's been almost, like, 15 days since I last played this game. Let me hit the pause. Hi there, Shinzo! Welcome to the stream. Thank you, JCat, for being here first. Congratulations, you're almost up to reaching first for the last 60 times so far. Or 50 times. You're up to 46. Will be awesome to see you when you get to 50. Let's see, who else have we got? We got Omega Platinum. She doing alright. Alright, she got some 24% and bimbo rating. Good work on the curves. Let's see. We got Sky doing the dino and the creeper. And hi, Jack. Welcome to the stream. Now, I should probably give some clarification as to, you know, what the fuck am I playing? Because, you know, there's a whole ton of people that are like, oh, Grant! Monster Hunter Wilds is out! And you have Monster Hunter Wilds in your Steam library. For those who are friends with me on Steam, they will see that. They also see my wishlist and all that kind of nonsense. And so many of them are like, are you gonna go and play Monster Hunter... blah, 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 blah. Are you gonna go and play Monster Hunter Wilds on stream? No. No, I will not be playing Monster Hunter Wilds on stream, I'm sorry to say. You're gonna have to go to bed. Have a good night, Zeebs. Not to worry, Sky. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. So yeah, no, I will not be playing Monster Hunter Wilds on stream. Cookie! For Night Sky, here's your cookie. There was a video that was done by, like, here's the thing. I did the beta on PlayStation 5, and I was like, if I was gonna play it or something like that, I was thinking of doing on there. And then I learned there was, like, you know, you got bonus, like, stuff. Also, eyes. Why are you not blinking? Is it? Oh my god, why is my character not blinking right now? That's a little bit... Okay, hang on a second. I need to fix that. My character needs to blink. Otherwise, what the fuck is he doing? No, it's not the node graph, it's this one here. Tracking elements. Use eye bones. Linked eye blinks. Hello? Blinking. Blink? Something's not right. My eyes are not blinking right now. This is a problem. Why are my eyes not blinking? Plant feet, track blend shapes. Oh! Okay, so I needed to... There's a check mark that says track blend shapes. I need to turn that on. Your eyes have bones? In 3D, everything has bones. Also, I'm still not perfect. Hang on. Bonk, donk. There we go. Wait, hang on. There we go. But yeah, in 3D, everything has bones. Your fingers have bones. Your toes have bones. Your eyes have bones. Even your... you shouldn't mention that one. It's a meshing/rigging term. Exactly. Thank you, Shinzo. Well, since you are so tall, I'm still going to try to hug you, but I probably only reach your chest. Aww. Not to worry. I have canine teeth. Your bones are just being replaced with canine. Anyway, oh, I should probably explain something. Today is Macro March. Now, if you don't know what Macro March is, I want you to go to a website called e621.com or .net. Hang on a second. Let me double check this. e621.net, and I want you to type in macro, and you'll get a proper good idea for what macro is. Now, if you're wondering, well, Zeebs, you're a pretty tall, muscular dude. Like, why are you celebrating macro? You seem like it seems appropriate for you. Fun fact, I am not at the macro level. Being 7 foot in the furry fandom, weirdly enough for Sona-wise, isn't even that big. But you know what you could do to help me get bigger? Hopefully this command works. Or maybe this one. God fucking damn it! The commands are not working. Why are the commands not working? Hang on a second. Macro March explain. Commands triggered. Ooh, it doesn't have the exclamation point. Why? Oh, that's why. Ding. Group. Enable all. Okay, so. Give me a sec. Oh. Oh, so I did some without and some with. Okay. Okay, that explains. Alright, so. Macro March is a celebration of the enjoyment of growth within the furry fandom, usually to what's called macro scale. Think your tall buildings or ridiculous galaxy sizes. For the month of March, GrantZeebs, can be grown even bigger through the use of subs, anything over 500 bits, or from spamming the Hyper Himbo unique bigger redeem. Oh, Yislith! Hi, by the way! Since I don't have any moderators in the thingy-majiggy, I'm gonna give Yislith the shout-out. Yislith, I have a favor. I have a favor. I need some sound clips from you because you have an amazing voice, and what's more, I feel like this is in your ballpark, like the things that go on in this fandom. Also, why is my thingy-majiggy not properly rotating? There we go. I can't see. The bigger redeem is available once I get Hyper Himboed, first and foremost. But firstly, Yislith. Actually, you know what? First one's free. How about that? Hang on. Let me just, let me do the Hyper Himbo shortly, so then that way you can see. So, I do the Hyper Himbo, and then there should be for where is it? There should be like a Hyper Himbo now, where it's like bigger. But it's not here. Hang on a second. Where the fuck did it go? Platform. Should... Why is it not enabled? Hang on a second. Enable extra hint. Oh! Hang on a second. Favorite triggers. Core, test. Okay. Test thingamajiggy. There we go. For Macro March, Grant can get even bigger. Go on, make him bigger. Alright, so normally that should happen because of a redeem. Give me a second, unless... Here it is, enable extra himbo. I need to enable this action. Alrighty, and then... Extra himbo reverse...
Bigger!
Yeah, so there you go. And as you can see there, someone is saying bigger. And it's a very cheap 10 points as well. Mess, my delivery is here, BRB. Oh my goodness, Yislith, you're gonna miss it! Yislith is gonna miss out on the growth, and you only have like 5 minutes. You gotta keep making me bigger. Cookie for Shinzo! Here's your cookie, Shinzo. There we go, there we go. Everyone's catching on from the sounds of it. Everyone's catching on. Use the desert mat to travel to the something or other.
Bigger!
Valley of Titans. Retrace the legend of the...
Bigger!
Do I have to stash anything away? Complete this trial will allow you to choose your ascendancy class. Ah, okay. Alright. So, I'm gonna go...
Bigger. Bigger.
A Thief of Iron. You travel to the Mastodon. Bigger. So there we go. Now I'm bigger. And as you can see now, I'm a little bit bigger now. So you'll notice that the height should now be adjusted. So why didn't it adjust? It should have refresh. 2.13 meters. It should have made me bigger at this point. Why didn't it? the math should have done something. Hang on a second. So once you reach equal to or greater than 200, extra himbo goes to 0. Reset bigger, which is what it did. This is good because ding dong. Oh, there's something I need to do. The macro march is not going as planned because it should have mentioned that I got bigger. One moment, please, as I find my macro march thingy-majiggy. PNG tuber hiding. WebSocket stuff. Here it is. Increase. There. Okay, so there it is. The bigger reset needs to do macro march increase. So, core. Wait, no, hang on. Maybe that's incorrect. Hang on. Scene visibility. No, that's because of WebSockets. Where is... Here it is. Vignon. And then... So, on reset bigger, it runs the action. Oh, okay, I see. So... Save, okay. Macro march increase. Ding, cust event name, quickie, test trigger. There we go. All right, so now if I refresh this, instead of being 2.13, I'm 2.34 now. How am I doing today? I'm doing all right, Big DJ. I am a little bit bigger now. Because it is now the start of Macro March. If you want to make me even bigger than I am now, it's currently at a height of 2.34. I don't know why height isn't one of the commands. I have like a number of other commands. Current session. Oh, I disabled the trigger is why. Hang on. Enable trigger. So it's when I do today or height. So yeah, macro march. Now, if you would like me to get even bigger, subs, 500 bits. Although do be aware that I don't have like a clever. I should have worked on this. I did it for the treadmill and I didn't do it for macro march, but I should have done something where it would once it got like, you know, like if it detected bits and shit, it should have calculated like, oh hey, you know, yeah, I should have figured something about like, you know, the bits and being like, oh hey, if it picks up on like, you know, however many, then it does like a, but I didn't do it. Our boy is going to become mega massive with gift subs and bits over 500. Absolutely. Although don't go like, you know, a crazy bit value because I'm going to need to do the calculation on that one because I've not yet. I probably need to talk to Morse about, oh, hey, I have like a thing for like when the gift sub goes off. I have it for like the multiple gift subs, but I don't have it for the multiples of like, you know, what's-a-mahoozies. Oh, wait, no, wait, what's this? Alright, so I'm here. Recreate the Horn of Astati. Whatever the fuck that is. Also, boobies over there, because, you know, boobies. So, yeah. Ding.
How does anyone live in this forsaken wasteland?
Oh, I shouldn't have used W. Also, is this the furthest I can, like, go? Damn. Alright.
Shadow!
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be very fucking himbo-brained on this one. Don't worry. I swear I could, like, zoom out further than this, but I guess that's my limit. The fuck are you? Oh my god, who the fuck is... There they are. There you are.
Necromancy. Wake.
Alrighty, and then... Alright, these guys are annoying, just running around like that. But yeah, so... Yeah, I'm gonna need to talk to... I need to talk to someone who's familiar with, like, C# and StreamerBot of, like, oh, hey, I'm gonna need to do, like, a really quick, I need to do a quick math thing where if bits are used, I need to make it so that mathematically, like, you know, it looks... It, like, figures out how many times it goes into 500 or something like that. And then maybe I'll have, like, a temporary, like, variable that's like, oh, whatever remainder goes into, like, a piggy bank. So then that way, you know, it doesn't just wash out. So then that way it's like, oh, hey, we, you know, we add from the piggy... So we, you know, add from the piggy bank, so we empty out the piggy bank on, like, you know, bit redeems and all that kind of such. And we see how many times... what's-a-whoozie, like, will go into it, and if it's, like, you know, still less than 500, then it just, you know, or whatever is left over after 500 will just be, you know, what's-a-whoozie's. Oh my goodness. Hi there, Vixie. I'm gonna be real with you. I am not gonna be able to read all that while I'm in the middle of fighting for my life, but I'm seeing bits and pieces. Hang on. Hello there. Didn't have the time to stay, but I was scrolling Twitch when I saw your mount, and I gotta say, you are the most himboest Ibra himbo. If there was ever a Giga Chad himbo zebra... Thanks, I guess. There, lot of himbo. Thank you very much. Gonna be real with you.
Sponsored by B1G_DJ.
Ah! Why you gotta try and make me do two things at once, DJ? I'm trying to talk to chat. I'm trying to play Path of Exile 2, a very thinky game, and now you want me to you know, take care of myself. The hymn lord. I'm not a hymn lord or a hymn king. I am simply an enjoyer of big things, okay? If you want to see big things as well, gift subs will make me even bigger, or you can check out some of the other big streamers as well, such as Yislith. Yislith does streaming. She right over there. Look. Hang on a second. Ding. Does the clip shout-out work yet, or is it still broken? Let's see. Hey! Looks like it's working this time.
Like, wait.
Look at this big booba. Look at this amazing muscle mommy over here. This muscly, long-eared elf. Look at her.
Okay.
Look at her playing Monster Hunter Rise.
Okay, do a shake. Okay.
Do a little shake.
What does the flowchart say?
Unfortunately, I don't have like a lot of control over my chest. Like I have to like literally grab my chest to do the things. I can't be like, oh yeah, like look at the nothing. I have like no, I have all this arm movement and I have like none of this like torso movement. Like let me put my arms away so then that way it doesn't get confusing. But yeah, this is me like leaning left, leaning right, leaning left, leaning right. Like nothing's happening. Because, like, you know, I'm sitting in a chair and what have you. And when I'm doing, like, things... Like, if I do, like, a turn left and turn right, it thinks I'm trying to turn my entire body. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. So, yeah. Alrighty. So, actually, quick question, Vixie-chan. How did you find me? Was I just lucky enough to be a browse on your thingy-majiggy? Sir Dragon, thank you for the 200 bits! God damn it, are you gonna make me, like, you know, stop playing this game and start, like, figuring out how to do the bits thingy-madiggy? Because I was, like, I probably should have tried to figure out this nonsense, like, before Macro March, but I just reactivated like my old commands and such like that and didn't think through. So, hang on a second. Bam. Boom. Effigy. There we go. Just all these necromancer nonsense. Good himbo. Oh wait, 6% isn't that great of a himbo rating, I'm sorry. But hey, at least you tried. Also, if you have your pronouns set, Big DJ, you can't, you know, check your himbo rating and then swap over to your bimbo rating. You can only have... What did I miss, Sir Dragon? I mean, pecs are less wobbly than booba hoobas. Yes, that is true. But yeah, thank you so much for the 200 bits, Sir Dragon. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that, Sir Dragon. Unless, did I miss something you said earlier? 9% himbo rating. And... Oh, you don't have your pronouns set, so you're able to do a 3% himbo rate. You was just scrolling, you had to give me compliments. Not to worry. Also, how dare you steal my shirt, Sir Dragon. At a moment of vulnerability. Stealing my shirt! Search for the entrance of the building. Wait, am I on the right mission? Ow! Unfair. Oh, fuck you, spiders.
Weak.
Please come alive. There we go. Yeah, cool. I'm alive. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, nope. We don't need to checkpoint this. We need to... An uncut support gem. Thank you very much. Easy. So yeah. Now, I'm not an expert of this game, I'm gonna be real with you. I am merely like a sort of a small fan of the whole of the action RPG. I played Titan Quest. I played a lot of Titan Quest and that was pretty fun. I did it in co-op with Code, which was also just as much fun for me personally. And yeah, this is... Oh, god damn you. Bam, and then boom. Oh, what the fuck? How did I get blasted in the... Damn, okay. Gotta be heading to bed soon. You all look like you're having fun. I hope you have a wonderful stream and a good time. Not to worry, Vixie-chan. Thank you for dropping in. Normally I do Saturday morning, but it was my turn to do the Saturday shift. If so, yeah. So going in at the evening. Hi there, Blue. Welcome to the stream. Happy Macro March. Are you gonna do anything cool for Macro March, or are you just gonna be your standard self? Bam. Boom. Eee! Also, I need to figure out how to do a thingy-majiggy at some point. Like, I need to do math. At some point, I'm going to need to do math, and the best way for me to... I won't be able to do that while on stream. Like, ideally, I should be able to, but... I could if I wanted to, but I also don't want to as well. Also, how dare these things do, like, lightning nonsense. There we go. Fuck you. You're just monster hunting at the moment? Ah, yes. The monster hunting. Everyone is going through Monster Hunter. I look through my, my Twitch follows and shit, and you know what I see? Monster Hunter Wilds. It's absolutely fucking insane. Now, as tempting as it would be to play it with everyone else, I don't want to... Like, I got it on PC because that's where I got my Monster Hunter Iceborne save and such like that, and you get, like, items for it. So, yeah, I went and got it on PC instead of PlayStation 5, like my initial thoughts. So, because of that, I've opted for the... I'm not going to be playing it on stream. That's basically what's going to... That's the conclusion. there is, like, it's not optimized. We knew that was going to be the case, Ace, but I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. Also, I am really weak to lightning. But yeah, like, we knew it wasn't going to be very well optimized, but the problem is that even with, like, you know, modern hardware, like the 40 series, oh, it was struggling. And the thing is that it's not struggling because of, like, VRAM like we thought. It's struggling because of, like, you know, grabbing from direct storage and trying to decompress the assets and what have you. So it's trying to do all this calculation nonsense that the 5070, sorry, just isn't able to do, or isn't doing very well. So you can brute force through this stuff with, like, a much stronger GPU, which is like which, you know, thankfully for me, I've got like a 3090, but at the same time, I don't want to play an unoptimized game. Like, I saw Unnamed playing Monster Hunter Wilds on stream, and they did all kinds of changes because of... Oh, Jesus. I hate all this lightning. Alright. Hang on. Rib rattle. Fuck you. There we go. Alrighty. I don't need this. I don't need this. I will keep you. I am having an absolutely terrible drop chance right now.
I'm not ready.
There we go. And there we go. It's really bad when it comes to streaming. Gotta have a chunky You either need to do a 2 PC setup, so then that way your streaming PC doesn't get affected by the clunkiness of Monster Hunter's Wilds. You got a pretty chunky PC. That is true, Blue. You have actually, you've gone and gotten yourself a new PC, and you're on a 2 PC setup as well, aren't you? Oh boy.
Hammer and anvil.
Oh Jesus Christ! Come on, don't.
You were no warrior.
There we go. A shield, thingamadiggy, and a hide coat. So yeah, so right now I'm just exploring this map, seeing if there's... Ooh, uncut gem. Thank you very much. Alright, so right now I'm disrupting some rituals. Alright, fuck you up. There we go. Alright, cool, 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 cool. Yippee! Yay! Yippee! Wait, why yippee? Who? How did I get yippied so late? Nah, you're not on a 2 PC build? Oh, okay, I thought you were on a 2 PC build. Yeah, my mistake, sorry about that. Oh my god, this place was relatively huge. Oh, there we go. Blighted Faded, thank you for the resub. I really appreciate it.
Can you believe it's been 3 months already? This sleepy 7 feet bloodbath flaps into your stream, flapping around you. Swooshes down and makes biscuits in his coffin as he curls up into a ball and is in a mountain of blankets.
You're in comf mode, are you now? You're in comfy mode? Thank you for coming into comfy mode onto my stream, and thank you so much for subscribing for the last 3 months. I really appreciate it. And good timing, too. It is Macro March. Every sub I get will... Oh, Jesus, hang on.
Destruction!
There we go. Every sub I get will make me grow even bigger. So right now, thanks to your sub, I am 2.5 meters tall instead of my normal 2 meters. Ow! Thank you for the 5,500 bits. If I was a clever Zeebs, I would have made that be like, you know, 1, 2, sorry, 5,000, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. I should have had that happen like 11 times, but I didn't. Hang on a second. Where's the thingy-majiggy? So yeah, I should have had. You know what? Hang on a second. I need to find a place for me to be like laying low because I need to do some code nonsense. I need to do like some code. Unfortunately, you're gonna like. I actually kind of want to present the code as well, so then that way, if someone is like a coding expert or something like that, and they notice what it is that I'm trying to do with the bits and what have you, then. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me head back to this checkpoint. Ding. Alright, so that's the Mastodon. Alright, I'm gonna head back to the caravan. And then ding, dong, main desktop instead of the PC gaming to present this. So this is a standardized increase. This is for whenever there's gift bombs. So this one has the thing of like, you know, grabbing the globals and all that, and then it figures out how many like gift subs were gifted, and it, you know, does the scale up nonsense. And then there's this one here. So this one here is for the sub. But oh, actually, what I should probably do is I'll duplicate the gift bomb, get rid of that trigger so it doesn't go off by accident, and I'll do bits, cheer / bits. Alright, so, alright, so I need to figure out streamer bot cheer. Actually, best way to do that is if I head to event feed. Nope, that doesn't provide me with the event feed. History. Here it is here. All right, so I can see that it was done. So I can see here that it was done. So bits. So I'm looking for bits. So Twitch sub get. So I want to put in bits. And then ding reference calculate and add macro march to cheer. All right, so what I need to do, so the idea that I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make it so that also I'm going to need to put this over here and such. So I'm trying to get the idea. So integer bits is from bits, so it's from that. All right, actually, you know what? So something else I need to get is so we've already got the double for macro march on stream and the session height. I also need to get. All right, so macro march on stream equals thingy-madiggy. Yeah, okay, so ding dong. Oh, actually no, so yeah, I need to get that. And then so we calculate bits 500 to growth. So the idea is that we now have a integer which is growth count, which equals bits divided by 500. And the idea, and then we're going to get another integer called growth remainder, which equals bits modulated, actually, which should be modulus 500, I think it is. So whatever remaining of like, you know, at the remainder of like 500 and what have you. So, oh, actually, what it needs to be is that integer bits equals, yep. And then I need to do bits plus equals cph dot get global variable, which is going to be an integer. And the variable name is going to be bits remainder. I don't know if I'm spelling remainder correctly. You're now going to come to your belly button and expose this. Oh my goodness. All right. No, persistent is going to be false. So here's the idea: is that I get the bits, I get what, and then so I get the bits that were given, then I get the remainder, and then we calculate. So integer equals bits thingy-majiggy there, and so if if growth count is less than 1, so the idea is that if growth count is less than 1, so like, you know, because of whatever remainder, then we have to, so we get the, so cph dot send message. I don't know why it's giving me a fallback. So ding, thanks for the bits. Also, gifted? Is gifted the right word? Did it work? Thanks to the contribute. Yeah, it did work. Okay, thanks for the bits. Ding, gifted. Oh wait, no, the contributions. Nah, so no, that's different. That's different. Hang on a second. Use bot and fallback we won't need. Sorry, just give me a second. Save. Compile. The name gifted does not exist in the current context. Yep, understandable. So, Twitch user sub resistant equals user. Gift recipient equals. Okay. Was that how it? All right. So, ding dong. So, actually, hang on. I'm just gonna copy all that. Then I'm going to go to the cheer and bits and go to here. And then just that way I'm able to just, you know, pick and choose what I want. So string is, so gift recipient is that, and then thanks to ding dong. So thanks to contributions. So that's for that there. And then scaling up is like because of all that, and we're waiting like 100 milliseconds, so then that way it goes through with no problem. For each GIF, send a WebSocket. Main code goes here. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. So for I is less than. All right. So if thanks for the. But the I'll just say thanks for the, if you reached for a little more, and Grant would have grown bigger! Exclamation point. So we do that, and then we need to do something about that. So cph dot set global var. So now bits remainder. Hopefully I'm spelling that correctly. Otherwise, this is going to be a little bit embarrassing. So yeah, so if growth count is less than 1, then it's growth remainder, and it doesn't stay persistent because I don't want to keep track of bits from like off one stream and into another. So yeah, so if it does that, then we return true. So the idea is that if it was less than however many bits, then it, you know, only does, then it just puts the remainder in and saves it for later. Else, and this is where we can start doing all the else nonsense. So we grab this, actually we ding. So macro march plus equals growth count, because growth count is, you know, is at least 1 or more, and growth count. So we grab this, we set the global variable, we set the thingy-madiggy, and then we do, yeah, okay, cool. And then ding dong. All right, format. There we go. So that one's a little bit easier to read now. Compile. Yep, so it compiles perfectly. So hopefully this works. So the idea is that the growth count equals, you know, however many times the bits goes into 500. So the idea is that if it's 500, it goes into it once. If it's 400, it doesn't go in it at all, and the 400 inner goes in here. Thanks for the bits. It would have grown bigger. The global variable, we would have put the bit remainder in. It's not persistent. Otherwise, we do all this nonsense, and then, oh, yep. We also need to have like the remainder in here. Hey, why'd you go hyperhimbo me and steal my shirt?
Bigger.
Oh, yeah, so I can get bigger.
Bigger.
Also, Yislith, now that you're here, this is what I wanted from you. I want, so
Bigger.
as you hear, there's people saying bigger.
Bigger.
I would love for you, I would love to get like an audio file or two from you.
Bigger.
Where you're saying bigger. So yeah. Alright, so yep, bits, we want is that amount there. We don't care for the badge count. Bit remainder is
bigger.
Yep, so all that math is done up there. Integer bits equals good. DOE? I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing from this thing. Am I missing something important? Actually, I probably should have double checked. C# mode C# mode formula. Is it modulus operator? The answer I get is how does 3 mod 4 equals 3? I can't. So if you have 3 and you want to divide them, and you've got a remainder of 3 for yourself. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, so percentile is what I want. All right, cool. Duly noted, understandable. So I is equal to 0, I is less than growth count, and then it does the scaling up, and then it does the thingy-madiggy. Compile, find refs. Alright. Should found one potential reference, adding two references. Save and compile. Alrighty then. Ding. So I'm gonna disable this one. Copy trigger, and I'm gonna put it into this one here, but I'm also gonna make it so that it's whenever one bit is put in. So the idea is that it will do like the, so figure out how many bits there are. Oh, actually no, I need to not have it play a sound. Hang on a second. StreamerBot play sound C#. C#. Play sound. Let's see. Because I need to make it so that it doesn't... Oh, it's because I have all these it can play. God fucking damn it. Play sound from folder. Alright, so... Okay. So here's what I can do. So I'll grab this, copy this, and then... I'm doing all this before someone does, like, a bit redeem. So then that way, alright, if it is bigger, then ding dong, cph dot play sound from folder. So the path is that. Volume, I think I had it set to 60. Recursive? What does recursive mean? Include all subdirect... Oh, by default, it's false, so I don't need to worry about that. And then... Name. Use file name. Enable this, we'll use the file name as the... Ah! Oh, I'm not as weak anymore because I'm bigger now. Alright, save, compile... Oh, unrecognized escape sequence. What? Oh, hang on. I need to do double escapees. Hang on. If I don't do the double escapees, it's gonna... There we go. Save and compile. Alrighty. Ding. Enable. I need to do a... Simulate trigger? Alrighty. So, oh yeah, fading...
Pull the lever, Crunk.
So blighted fading, let's say for example they did 5,500. So let me do 5,000. So that should happen 5 times. All right, hang on. Let me just double check. So am I doing thanks to gift recipient contributions? Growth count actually. Thanks to grows times more, exclamation point, to a height of. All right, yep, so growth count, that should be fine there. Compile, yep, save and compile. Alrighty, simulate. 5, 1, 2, 3, so... Alright, so this should be for the remaining 5,000, whatsamahoozy. Alright, let's see if this works.
Bigger.
Oh my goodness, thanks to grows 10 times more to a height of 7.35. Oh my goodness. Look how huge I am! I'm fucking massive! This is hilarious! All right. Now, if someone did, for example, simulate an event, so instead of Blighted Fading doing it like 5,000 times, they only do it like they only do it like, 250 times. It shouldn't make me grow. It should just be like, oh, a bit more, Grant. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for the bits. A little more and Grant would have grown bigger. I will figure out how to do math nonsense another time. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Should I stay... The bulge is the same size as standard Grant? Alright, question. Do I want to just leave me like this? I feel like this is not a good way to do it, but it could be funny. Let's have a look. So, can't wear that. Reinforce something or rather. Better... Not as much armor, worse blocking. Create a support gem up to level 1. Oh my gosh, you can't even, like, you can barely see my screen. Very TOS sus? Okay, hang on. Alrighty then, let's, alright, let me have a look at my, camera options. So this is high. And then if we do a, if we put it over to game, it throws it. Alright, so that won't do. Big boy. Yeah, I'm a big boy now. So if I'm gonna go back to gaming. So yeah, if I go back to gaming, I'm like here. So what I need to do is I need to do a position. There we go. So the move gizmo. And then I need position 1. Actually, position 2. I'm gonna call position 2. So this is like, greater than 5 meters. And I need to... Come on. There we go. I was around about here. I'd be around about here, wouldn't I? Well, this is greater than, like, 7 meters, so greater than 7 meters. Save current. So, position 1. Oh, actually, you know what? I can't make it that. I need to, hang on a second, play. So it needs to be like here, load position, and now I'm too short, so... Oh my goodness, how do I... Alright, here we go. This gizmo needs to be a lot higher. Save. Let's see. Is this a good... No, that's still too, that's too high. So let's go a little bit further down, like this much. Save current. Almost there. Why did I just see legs when I came? Hi there, Alpha Wolf. Happy Macro March. Thanks to the contributions of Bladed Fighting like a whiles ago, I am now over 7 meters tall. And right now I'm fiddling around with Whatsamahoozy to... Hang on. How... Okay, so I need to go a little bit lower. So about 1, 2, 3. Save. Let's see. Is this an appropriate... Still a bit too... Still a bit too big, but... Or too high, but, you know... Because here's the thing. Is, I could have been... So... This is what I'm like right now. Like, if I tried to do full body, all you would see is this. And then over in chatting, I'd be at, like, my knees. Which is really fucking silly. Hopefully they didn't make you as big as way big from Ben 10. Oh, this is March 1st. This is the first... Hang on a second, let me... ding, dong, load position. I really wish there was a way for it to, like, you know, have me do the modifications. Is it in monitoring? Do I need to go there to figure out, like, where, like, you know... Blah, 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 blah. So, camera down, left, right, eye bones, hydrate water, extra himbo level. It says 170, which is not accurate, so I'm gonna need to set that to 0 again. Oh wait, no, when it gets quote unquote bigger, then I'll be able to... Also, I love that it tells me how much, like, memory it's taking. Look at that. But yeah, oh, actually, maybe there's a node graph for, Gizmo. Nope. Move? Position. Avatar position. Nope. Okay, so it just does those. Object position. Nope. Why can't it do the ups and downs? Set position. Oh, no, that sets pose. Thank you for the head pats. I do appreciate it. I'm glad that the head pats still work at this height. So... But yeah, I also need to... Hang on. Oh my god. Alright, so... Dun, 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 dun. What? Ooh. Am I moving this guy, or... Oh. Yeah, okay, so I need to move, like, a head's worth, which is about... Yay, much. Save current. Gaming. It's kind of hilarious. Like, let's just play it like this. And oh, actually, you know what we can do as well? I can show you off my new background image. So, actually, hang on a sec. What I should do is I should copy and paste. Not all the way up there. Yink. They're just looking at me like, what the fuck is he doing? Alright, browse. Where's my Blender renders? So, Blender render from last month. And I've got... this. This is my quote-unquote roof. So, hang on a second. So, ding. So, this isn't main stage background. This is roof background. Cookie for YY. Enjoy your giant cookie. So, yeah, this is my roof. And unfortunately, the, yeah, it looks like the himbo cam ain't gonna work. So, I'm gonna need to figure out a better way to make it so it's like it like points to like the chest bone or something like that. So, cause yeah, like hang on a second. So where does cake oh, cake goes like all the way here, and then so it goes there, which is kind of hilarious. Allow you to save up for a second. The story can be swapped with the camera node. Yep. Cool. This is honestly hilarious. Neck. Alrighty. Well, I'm glad this works. Now this makes it so that whenever people do, like, contribute, like, you know, 500, more than 500 bits, if it's, like, you know, an obscene amount, it means that it will actually, like, you know... Yeah. And if anyone asks, it's like, what are you doing on the roof? It's like, well, what's with this new scenery? It's because, well, quite simply, I'm too big for my own apartment now. I'm over 5 meters tall. You. Buy or sell things. You can grab these things. And so that's Mace Strike, which is the two-handed. Then this is Leaping Slam, Rounding, Bone Shatterer, Totem, Earthquake. Earthquake does a pinning thing.
Serdradonks88 demands you drink.
Noted. What's Infernal Cry? Magnified Effect. Has 30% more area of effect. Oh, okay. I'm not even using Infernal Cry that often, so you know what? Fuck it. Sure. Yep, Infernal Cry now has that slotted into it, and that's fantastic. Alrighty, back to the whatsamahoozies. Oh, I gotta use the map again. Search for the entrance of the bone pit. Ah, okay, so I needed to find the bone pit is what I needed to do. It looks like you took a sneak a look at your own stream. I'm in my roof, okay? Like this is the best place. There's like an overhead projector and shit. If I was a smarter Zeebs, I'd go for like a night like kind of scenario, but you know, this is what we get. Maybe this is something I'll work on in the future or something crazy like that. So, I don't think through these things, okay? Macro March, it takes a lot out of me, alright? Like, imagine, the amount of brain power it takes to be this big is unforeseeable. Yep, get rid of you as well. Lost Men. Oh yeah, this is like a this is a matriarchy, this society. So there's going to be a lot of men that are just, you know, not having it. But yeah, more like Micro March. How fucking dare you, Blue? If you want to do Micro March, you know, just play Pipmen like 6 or something like that, you're welcome to do so. I won't stop you. But this is Macro March, thank you very much. I can put myself back to pelvis height for all of you, you know. I can make it so that you don't get to see my wonderful face. You just have to take a look at my fucking abs and my like, you know, V. There we go. Get fucked. Also, why am I only getting, like... Is it because I'm too high of a level here? Is that why? Bam. And then, boom. Because I will be real with you, I do die a few times, like... At least I'm getting plenty of gold, though. Maybe you can do something like Alex Archer. He has an image for if he outgrows the stream. Oh, like, similar to, what, the Giant Serval does. I'm trying to remember the name of the Giant Serval. He has something similar, like, he makes his voice go lower and all kinds of cool stuff. Like, maybe, but I feel like that wouldn't be fair to all of you, especially since, you know, even after, you know, all this, like, I'd still be... massive. Maybe I just need to come up with like a different camera angle when I get to a certain site. Big Circle. Yeah, there's like this big I think that's their name actually, Big Circle. There we go. Gotcha. All right. What was I doing next? So I've already filled in those guys. So I grabbed that for the strength. Was I going through this section here? 50% of to be added to the stun threshold. Empowered attack steal. Warcry has a increased thingy. Was this the line it wanted me to go down? Maybe. So I've already gotten that, so I can do the increase in armor, and then that increases armor from equipped body armor. But yeah, I went over here. Oh, I went for this. I was working on this stuff here. So, yeah, I was applying it to mass hysteria. So then that way, when I was playing with other people, allies in my presence would get increased attack speed, and I would get an increased attack speed. So, yeah. It's small potatoes, but, you know, it does the job. Oh my goodness. Imagine trying to go through this game with, like, low rarity. I wonder if people have done that as a challenge. Make it so it's like, oh, the only level gear you can get was like white difficulty gear. So like if there was anything that was like blue or green, it was like, nope, you're not allowed. I wonder if that's like a run people have done. Ooh, Recall Shard. Awesome. Home Inspector, thank you. There we go. It's their Twitch name. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Omega Platinum. But yeah, I want to do, like, here's the thing, is that, like, unless the game is, like, really intense, and I wasn't doing, like, a theme, because, you know, PNG art is expensive, I want to use my 3D model where I can. And for Macro March, I feel like a 3D model that can grow bigger is a wonderful idea. I would... Get fucked. There we go. Checkpoint here. Okay, bone pits. This is where I needed to go, was the bone pits. Also, arm. What in the world? Search the bone pits for the something or rather guy. Mm-hmm. It's like a regular elephant graveyard here. Well, I'm gonna be real with you, that was very disappointing loot from a yellow difficulty. Is Simba here? At the elephant graveyard? God, I should hope not. It's been years. God damn! Yeah, shock gives you, like, a debuff. Should've known. But yeah, already growing, like, you know, fucking 7... growing up to over, like, 7 meters is a crazy amount of growth. Thank you, Blighted Fading, for it. I do appreciate the bigness. Okay, maybe I should go to, like, a different, like, way of, like, button commands. Because my warrior, I definitely need to move around and such. And so left-clicking the ground might not be ideal. But I think, unfortunately, I can't change that setting from here. Ooh, Sun Clan Relic. Okay. Alright, Spectres. This is just a piece of shit. I think the only reason I was keeping this was because of... it doesn't even do that good of an armor, so never mind. This is Evasion. By terms of the third pact, the Sun Clan agreed to never again attack the something or other. Alright, is there anyone else I need to worry about? Yeah, these guys. Alright, might as well see what that Iron Cuirass does. But yeah. Thank you for coming along to the stream, Alpha Wolf. I do appreciate it. How did you find me, by the by? Ah, hyenas. If Unnamed is watching my stream right now, turn away. I'm absolutely fucking them up. Alright, ding. Also, what's the... Okay, my helmet is 34 and is giving me, like, life regen and shit, but this one gives me, like, way more armor. So I'll hold on to that. Hopefully we'll get something that'll be, like, you know, pretty good in the realm of... Oh, a composite. Oh, bastard. Alright, ding, dong, habam. God, there's all these, like... There we go. Let's see. Oh, my... There we go. In Diablo 3, you choose the Reaper Kais and you automatically heal when you attack. That is pretty cool. I have not played Diablo 3. I've not played any of the Diablo games. I understand that, like, this game is supposed to be a, oh, what if we made a Diablo game and you were, like, trying to create, whatsamahoozy, builds that were actually, like, broken and what have you, instead of just, you know, getting through the main game and such. So apparently, like, this game would have, like, way more intensive endgame when I get to it and shit. And apparently, the class that I chose, this Unga Bunga, I'm a warrior, feel my wrath, apparently this isn't a good one endgame because it's got, like, you know, not a lot of, like, ranged opportunity, and because you're not focused on, and because you're doing like all this armor stuff, you're not given like a big like energy shield pool. You're given like something else. I don't know. I'm not an expert at this game. There we go. There we go. There we go. Fuck you, hyena demon. Wow. Absolutely terrible loot for me. Nothing rewarding for me. Also, why am I freezing? There we go. I'll at least try and pick up the staff, so then that way I can, like, break that down and shit. Alright, so drop you, composite bow. Sure, you had a dot in it, but I don't use composite bow, so it would have just been like a selling thing. Alright, silk robe. You're mine. You know what? Fuck it. Let's pick up the studded great club and see if it does better than... Like, I have a studded great club as a secondary, but I don't know how much keeping a secondary helps me. Yeah, let's see how we go. Let's see, what is around? Thankfully, I have, like, natural life regeneration, so long as I don't, waste all my potions, I'm good. Ah, that was ill-advised. I have no clue how far in how far back a checkpoint I'm... Oh, I've got a ways to go. My goodness, is there really not... Have I really not walked across a checkpoint here? Damn. Oh my god, they even cackle like hyenas. No wonder they're called hyena demons. Well, I got a Scroll of Wisdom, so if I find another yellow thing and I don't know which one to keep, then... Oh, why the fuck are they exploding now? Support gem, Aug of Augmentation. Neither of those help me. What happened to, like, streamer luck? What happened to streamers just having, like, all this, like, crazy luck when on stream of, like, grabbing things? So then that way, everyone's, like, watching the stream and they're like, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be amazing if I played this game and there was all this cool loot? Maybe I'm not a big enough streamer yet. Or maybe I just have bad luck. Could be either or, quite frankly, at this point. Also, fuck you, spider thingy-madiggy. Is there... Nope, doesn't look like there's anything down there, either. Bah. Yay, a checkpoint. That's for evasion rating. Cookie for Hawaiian pizza. Here's your cookie. Forgive me if I'm a bit big. Grant's face so close I can sniff that poor hair through the phone. Don't sniff my hair. The reason why I'm up at the roof and all you can see is my head is because it's Macro March and you can throw subs and cheer bits, and if we, and like, you know, subs will have me grow and such like that, and I think it's like 500 bits, and divisibles of 500 bits will make me grow.
Did you see it?
What did I miss, Alpha Wolf? I see you peeking. Like this, like just peeking over the head, or peeking as in peeking my mic because I'm using all these plosives as I peek at the proper upper mic because it might not be in the proper position for this positional streaming with a proper zebra. Peeking your head up. Ah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. It's a funny aesthetic in my head. I can still get bigger as well, don't forget. Peeking. Plosive. Pencil. Propeller. Considering my start to it, driving 5 hours north for college stuff. Oh my gosh.
989 paid me to say the last thing your enemies hear are their cheeks clapping.
Pa. They just hear a giant zebra just going pa. Plosives. Pencil. Peeking. Positionals. Penis. Well, that's a piece of shit. Why do I want that? Ah! Avoid the lightning. Yeah, Meteor would do that to me. Oh, what is up with my... My right arm doesn't like sitting where it is right now. That's weird. So yeah. AO? Yeah, there's an advertisement right now. Aw, I missed out on an orb of transmutation. But yeah. Grant, what is screaming about? I'm not screaming about anything. Except for the fact that, bladed fighting grew me so much that I've now burst through my fucking roof. Look at me. I have to play on the ceiling. Also, hi there, Code. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? I'm not... But you are. You're screaming right now. Am I screaming right now? You're scream... Do you mean streaming? Why do you do this, Code? Why are you like, oh, it's not math, it's myth. It's not streaming, it's screaming. Yes, why? Yes, why? Why are you like this, Code? Yes. Gotta keep me on my toes. Gotta keep me on my hooves. This game already... There we go. And then, bam. Avoid all that lightning. Alrighty. There we go. You may have touched by the tism, but you were molested. I don't know how I feel about that joke. Sure, I was touched by the tism, but I got that diagnosis. Anyway, how's it going, Code? You doing good? Killing all the hyenas. You good? You just have dinner after working? Also, Grant, yes? Yes, Code? There's no sound. Oh! I know why there's no sound. There we go. Now there should be sound. How long was everyone watching me play this game and didn't think to ask, hey, Grant, where's the sound? Goes to show where everyone was thinking when I was grown to like 7 meters tall and all you could see was my crotch. The disrespect, honestly, from all of you. Even Blue was in this stream and Blue didn't say nothing. Blue's just distracted by Monster Hunter Wilds right now, I'm guessing. They were busy looking at your brown eyes. First and foremost, these aren't even brown. The hell are you talking about? Oh yeah, look at my neck. Look at this you know, impressive trapezoid neck. Because that's what you wanted to see, right? Thank you for the hyper himbo. I greatly appreciate it.
Bigger.
Bigger.
Also, Code, you need to send me messages of you saying bigger.
Bigger. Bigger. Bigger. Bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger. Bigger.
Dodge this. Bigger.
Bigger.
And I'm even bigger now. Also, how did I, like, activate my shaders? That makes no sense. Also, I'm nearly dead. I probably shouldn't be dying. There we go. Get fucked.
Crush them!
Oh, nice.
Join the dead, you so.
Also, how did I get the what's-mahoozy stuff on? That's the question. Create a portal is with G. Toggle. Oh, F1. Okay, so that's how I did it, is with F1. Thank you for making me absolutely massive code. I am now 8 meters tall.
My satchel is full. These tusks are what I seek.
Cool. So, we got the Mastodon Tux, we got the Sun Clan Relic. Alright, let's see, what does this skill orb give us? Oh, we can increase this to thingy-majiggy, that'll be good. What else? Herald of Ash. Can give us all that nonsense, but it doesn't really help us. Actually, let's drop you. Herald of Ash, I believe, increases the spirit, which we don't want to do. Adds physical, but makes it unable to stun. You know what? Fuck it. We'll add that in there. And then put the Exalted Orb there. Regal Orb goes there. Crossbow's too big. Quarterstaff is not much in the way of good loot, it seems, for me as a warrior. You did ages ago. I was not paying proper attention because I was trying not to die. I'm sorry. Also, where the fuck is my... Oh, there's my character. I was trying not to die in this hellscape.
No chance!
I was trying my darndest, okay? Oh, would you look at that? Another checkpoint. I need to ask about that weird, what's-mahoozy thing. Also, I noticed my, Ah! Fuck you. Oh, that's interesting. I guess you don't really notice, like, imperfections until they're, like, really up close. Alright, the fuck? So there's a rib rattler that is just sitting in this, like, trapped essence.
I need more time.
Alright, let's have at it.
No mana. Destruction!
Come on.
Need mana. My satchel is full.
There we go. Upgrades a normal item to magic with 1 life modifier. Interesting. And then this is an unidentified smithing hammer. That is really weird that I get a smithing hammer of all things, because... yeah, the smithing hammer is a little bit shit. 42 strength. Okay, yeah, so keep that. Drop you, grab the smithing hammer, and put you here. Those guys were more recently killed by me, so that's not a problem. Let's see. No, means no bitches. Yep. I don't have an amethyst ring, and it looks like it can give me some pretty decent resistances, so... Chaos resistance. Okay, so these guys give me... these add physical damage to attacks. Scroll of Wisdom, thank you.
Need mana.
Ah. I also don't like how, because I'm so much bigger now, like, the ears have way more, like, jitter to them. I need to, like... there isn't a way for me to be able to, like, change, like, you know, make it so that it's a reduced amount of, what's Moozy? You'd think by scaling it up, like, or, like, the avatar getting scaled up, it would be a case of, oh, we're just gonna make this, like, a little bit less and what have you, but Nope, they don't do that. Yeah, that's a waste of mana flask. Alright, so there's another checkpoint here. Stop clicking on the checkpoint. Oh, actually, check this thing. So that increases my evasion. This gives me grit. Now I'm gonna probably move back into this direction here. So, because I can increase my armor or my stun. I'm probably gonna have my stun build up increase, honestly. Because that seems like the more appropriate thing for my character. Yeah, look at that. Also, where the fuck did these guys come from? Negates all armor. Oh, my armor is... Okay, there we go. They all resurrected? I guess they have.
Cower!
I guess because each time I die, they will have a chance to resurrect and such, which isn't ideal. Alrighty, let me create a portal out of here. Ugh, excuse me. Work was boring, let me tell you. Alrighty, let's see how terrible. Yeah, I can't use the Silk Rose, so it's useless to me. The body armor isn't better, but it gives me a better stun threshold. 20 of 27. This gives me cold damage and gain life per enemy killed. So. Yeah, the smithing hammer was going to be useless. Strike, steal, splash within 8 meters. Add +1 to all melee skills. Actually, you know what? We'll go with that. Plus, it gives me a slot. So, you know, that's pretty good. Yeah. Alright, 10% mana regeneration, which, you know, this one does life regen, which is a lot better. Upgrade a normal item to magic with 1 life modifier on it. Doesn't tell me what the life modifier is, though, which is a little bit annoying. Return this to recreate the Horn of Vistiri. And then augments a rare item with a new random... Yeah, okay. Alright, stash. So that was the hammer I had before. Alright, so ding, dong, a bing, a dong, ding. Alright. God damn, I have so many. Alright, so that was for that thing there. So that was vitality support. Then these were like things like resonating shield, magma barrier, because I didn't have room for all those. Upgrades a normal item, augments with a new random thingy-madiggy. Stay a while and listen. But yeah, excuse me. Where is my brain at? But yeah, I have just been, like, work had been, you know, just not that crazy for me. Hi there, Het. Yeah, code made me a little bit bigger, so now I'm like 8 meters tall or something crazy like that, so already we're at a pretty big height. So, yeah. It was hectic for me. Oh, that's a shame. I guess Saturdays are always gonna be a lot more hectic for like customer facing sort of roles as opposed to mine where, you know, I get to have the benefit of, you know, not needing to do that. Loads of shit to deliver to rooms. Ah. Now you have to watch you through binoculars. Yes. Alright. Yep. So I can break you down. Trans gal from Brooklyn. Thank you so much for the follow. Happy to be an ally. Welcome to the stream. Happy Macro March, by the by. I hope you're doing all right. How's it going? So yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, my work. Yeah. So because I wasn't streaming, the reason why I wasn't streaming in the morning. Ignore the ears doing like, you know, all this kind of nonsense. Look at this. Look at the amount my ears are like wobbling and such like that because I'm just so much bigger now. Even like the tiniest like change makes them go like, you know, makes them go crazy. But yeah, anywhoosies. It was my turn to do the Saturday shift in our team, which, you know, I made it where I was like, all right, don't put me on the last Saturday of the month. I'm fine if you put me on any other Saturday of the month, just don't put me on the last one. And yeah, so I had to do the March 1st, which is today. So I had to do it for the first day of Macro March. And where was my brain at? Come on, brain. And yeah, so I came in on my Saturday shift, and there was a little bit to do here and there. Like, there was one person who was coming in on Saturday that I was prepared, that was coming in on Saturday, that I was like, right, I'm going to help you out when you're in the office, we'll get this done. Got that over in like 30 minutes.
Need something?
Meanwhile,
My wares are renowned. As you wish.
Sell all that. Regal orb, I'll probably... Oh yeah, I probably should have put the Regal orb back in my stash. I don't know what to do with you, so I'm gonna put you over here. That's the Artificer's thingy-majiggy.
These tasks.
Anyway, so yeah, really, I only needed to be there till, like, midday, like, 11 o'clock. And let me tell you, I got a little bit bored. There we go. Disenchant... Oh, so I go to you for disenchantments. And what could you get me? Scrolls of something or rather, simmering thingy-majiggies of the practitioner, giant life flasks, novice grants 54% to minions, and then there was a buyback thing. Yeah, alright, cool. Anyway, so yeah, so I was kind of done with work by about, like, you know, midday, but I was still needing to be there for, like, another hour or two, so, yeah. Not too much in the way of, like, busy for me, personally. Still don't know what to do with that essence of body from you. I also need to figure out... Hang on, ding.
Yes? The Balbalak has her life, for she was truthful. If she also wishes to be accepted, move swiftly.
Alright,
Once the seat of power for our people, now a buried testament to a glorious past. We will build a new Keth someday when all this...
God, I have so much going off in my head, and it doesn't help that I'm trying to...
Once again.
That I'm trying not to, like, you know, drink any, like, Coke, no sugar, because to keep myself awake at work, like, work was boring. I needed to keep myself occupied after noon, and yeah, I was drinking Coke Zeros, which was probably not a really good idea. I should have just gone for, like, you know, water or taking a nap if I had the chance to, but I didn't. And I didn't do that with today's what's-a-mahoozy either, so, like, brain. Yeah, no, I don't want to drink any, like, you know, diet soda or anything like that on stream tonight, because I want to get a good night's sleep, and I don't want to ruin like, I don't want to further ruin, I should say. I don't want to further ruin my, my weight loss journey and what have you, because, yeah, I only just got under 107 kilograms right now. I would like to be lower, and I gotta go to, like, a dinner thing with my dad and family tomorrow afternoon. And even though they did put me down at the restaurant as, like, you know, dietary restrictions and shit like that, I'm still gonna need to eat, like, a salad or something. And even then, that's gonna be a bit much. Oh, yeah, also, hi there, Warhorse Indra. Happy Macro March. Ding. Bam, bam. Macro March. I'm currently 8 meters tall. Also, don't believe the second one there because, you know, we haven't yet finished the stream, so it doesn't know any better. Use the desert to travel to the Valley of Titans to make the Crown of Storm. Travel to Ket for the City of the Seven Waters. I need a journal. So, is it social screen that I want? No. Events? No. The Atlas skill tree? No, I don't think this is it either. Not good. So yeah, because how do I get to these? Okay, so Trial of Corruption is to recreate the thingamadiggy. City of the Seven Waters. Crown of Stone. You have found a mysterious relic. But it doesn't tell me what I do with this mysterious relic. Also, it's kind of funny that I can go back to the Act 1 area. Alright, let's have a look. So, the quest locations I have... Boss encounter with upgrade, boss encounter with Jin Barva, a rare monster encounter. Yeah, alright, so... So I need to go... So probably... Create a soul gem to level 0, to an uncut support gem. I'm gonna go with the City of the Seven Waters, because there might be something to that place. So, because I was already here at the Badlands. The Trials of Sekamas, I think, is another weird case entirely. Valley of Titans. I've already gone to these guys. So, and this leads me to Keth. Actually, maybe it's not a good idea to go to... Alright. Trial of Sekamas. I think we're gonna go with that one. So, use the travel map to get to the Trial of Sekamas. Yep. So, used trial to the... Yep, alrighty. Trial of Sekamas. There's always time to go bigger. There is. There absolutely is. Subs, bits, or spamming the hyper himbo will do that to me. I will be amazed if we get over 10 meters before the end of tonight. Like, day 1 of Macro March, and it's like, oh yeah, 10 meters. Would be absolutely fucking insane.
The proving grounds for the sisterhood is complete. Though it broke many bones and some backs, the triumph is ours to behold. Zarok has been the most helpful aid. He came to us at Tel Jari, but now he is something more.
Who the fuck is Tel Jari? Also, big women. Alright, so, yep. Trials of Sekhmet, Trader's Palace, Madoon Thingamadoogies. Yeah, okay. Relic locker decoration now available in your hideout.
Serve.
What? Balbala the
We
advisor?
have met in battle, but not in peace. I am Balbala, once a traitor, long a sorrowed prisoner.
11% reduced slowing potential of debuffs on traps, deals. Okay. Interact to participate in the trials of...
I have had a great many years to think on my foolish choices, and now all I want is to earn my right to rest. This place was built to determine honor, to prove oneself worthy as a Sekema. Tradition allowed for one Dekara and one advisor. If I aid you here, and if you succeed, then my crimes will finally be forgiven. Then, and only then, may I join those that have gone before.
Uh-huh.
I hardly know the woman I was before. I remember betraying my Akara, but the reasons why now feel petty and small. If I could go back, if I could speak to the woman I was, I would tell her what a fool she was being. Would she listen? Probably not. The mistakes we make are shaped from who we are. The tale women of many Akaras gathered on the day of my sentencing. Death was not punishment enough for my crime.
Uh-huh.
They enacted the ritual, but my imprisonment as Jinn would not have been possible without my willful agreement. I accepted. I let it happen because I deserved it. I have no idea how long I was trapped there, but it was as close to eternity as I can possibly imagine.
I think you were a few thousand years, yeah.
The role of advisor is strictly bound by tradition. I may offer you aid, but only in certain specific ways. Look to me in your times of doubt. What happened to the plains of Astiri? The land has changed. There were several desert regions slowly spread. The Halani gates where I committed my crimes were waterlocks for a river. Now there is nothing but sand and salt flats.
Oh, that's a bit depressing.
How could they have... Zelarim.
Alright, so we put this in here. And that's a quest item, which doesn't really help us. Alright. So, we put... Alright, so place the item at the start of the trial of the second. So traps deal reduced damage now.
I'm ready.
Okay, so a test of strength. Lightning dash can shock you, increasing damage taken. Noted.
This place is ancient, yet something stirs within.
Find and disable all crystals. Any crystal still active when the chariot will damage you. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, it gives me a direction. Okay. It probably doesn't want me doing it this way, though, does it? Taruski, Crash, thank you so much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. I am right now going through a trial of strength, trying my best not to die.
Stand
Hammer
tall.
and anvil!
I don't know if it was expecting me to just, like, run through this. Honor is an additional resource you have to manage within the trial. A percentage of the damage you take from enemies in the trial will be taken from your honor. If your honor reaches 0, then the trial has failed.
Feel my wrath!
Okay, so we finished the first trial, which is getting the whatsamahoozy. So now, all right, so we got a silver key. Okay, so awards a sacred water fountain, afflicts you with a weakened flesh on entry. Lose all on floor completion. Award a shrine to restore or afflicts you with fiendish wings on entry. Have 25% increased attack. Hi there, little Incineroar. Happy Macro March. Awards a secret... On rune completion. Alright, let's see what happens when I do that one. There we go.
No chance! Need mana. Need mana. I need more time. Hammer and anvil!
disrupted.
What? What do they mean the ritual is being disrupted? I was on a bit of a groove. I thought I had like several like thingy-majiggies to go. I still have honor and everything. Like, what the hell?
An oasis in the desert.
Yep. Awards a shrine to restore honor afflicted with a spiked exit on entry on room completion. Awards a... So I'm trying to get to there. So I was able to get sacred water, restore honor, and grants a boon. Okay, so I want to go like there. Alright, so we'll go gauntlet next. Alright.
Dodge this! Weakling!
Hopefully I'm doing this correctly. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so I need to pull a red lever somewhere.
Hammer and anvil!
Death is
Ah!
You will have another chance.
Okay. So... Complete this trial will allow you to choose your ascendancy. Ah, okay, so...
I have had a great many years to
Alright,
think on
so...
my foolish choices.
For now, I need to take care of doggo stuff, but hope the stream goes well. Thank you! I don't think I'm gonna go on for very long, to be real with you, because...
Was built to
I need, like...
honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, like, help with this, I feel like. But I also, like, every time I go into this, I'm always coming in, like, with, you know,
And one advice,
less than I remember.
if I aid you here and Selarim,
So yeah, and I don't have a relic for this. So yeah, plus I'm probably not, like, the best, class to try and do this solo, because it's like, yeah, I'm... Like, most of my shit is about, taking this... Is being able to do all this while, Actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw you to stash 2. Because, oh my goodness, is this gonna be painful. Alright, you into there. Long belt. Oh. So clearly stuff that's going to be. Yeah. So, because, yeah, only this one might be of use. Hang on. 42% increased recovery rate, gains charges per second. Yeah, gets it quicker. Has about the same number of charges, so I just need to go to a well or something. Alright, first and foremost, where's a well? Yeah, and then reduce slowing potential. Yeah, so we got that.
Ready.
You said that last time, warrior, but we failed, so... Alright, find and disable all crystals, and it's still active when the timer expires will damage you.
Hammer and anvil!
Stand tall.
Alrighty. Survive that. There's no sacred water. Although I don't know what the sacred water is for, so... probably not helpful. Bronze key, thank you. Alright, so... Sacred fountain, a large sacred fountain. Iron manacles. No evasion. Okay, so if I go to this, then I only have that or this. Awards a large. Afflicts you with low rivers. 50% less sacred. Alright, what the fuck is sacred water for then?
Shatter!
How many of these am I needing to destroy is the question.
I'm not ready!
Good riddance.
Okay, cool, so... I've lost like half my honor doing all that. Grants a large amount of sacred water. Cool.
Of respite.
Cool. Yeah, fuck it. You go down there.
Hammer and anvil!
Cookie for Bookie! Here's your cookie.
Break!
Okay, is that the point of this trial? Your line was, here's your cookie bookie. I'm sorry that I didn't get the line right. Oh, thank goodness I leveled up. Oh, the trial is completed. Oh, wait. Is the trial completed? I'm now a level 25 warrior with a lot more sacred water.
Give anything for a sip.
Okay then. So, contains a merchant, afflicts you with dark pit. Traps deal 100% increased damage. Awards a shrine that restores honor. Okay, so yeah, so we'll need to use... So we can only go to the bronze key. And we need to get through all that. You're fired. Unnamed will take your place. Defeat all the rare monsters and fill the chalice. Oh my god. I don't exactly have the honor for this either, so this is going to be very painful to do.
Fear will best you! I can't yet!
Yeah, I don't... How was I gonna be able to do, like, the amount of, like, honor I did not have for dealing with those bosses? Okay, Ascendancy is fucking difficult.
Salah.
Attempt the trials again, pick that up, and just get the fuck out of here. This ain't gonna happen. Also, ow, what the hang on, what the fuck is with my, like, shoulder? Like, does it not like the things being this high? Like, like, do I need to have my thing lower? Is that something I need to do about my desk? Like, is that what I need to do? Maybe? Maybe I need my, like, thingamajiggy... Like, hang on a sec, what's the... So this is the lowest the armrests will go. Maybe because, like, I was, like... Maybe my arms were just, like, like my shoulders were always like tense or something like that. I don't know. I might need to learn what the ergonomics of a chair is again. Cause good lord. Alright, so the Trials of Sekhmet are for like monster level 22, which I am not. Can't head to those places, so we're heading back to the caravan. Oh, goodness. Maybe there is offline grinding in this game. Although it's weird, because, like, I am level 25 right now. Like, there shouldn't be, you know, there shouldn't be problems. Place this item on the relic altar at the start of trials. Is there a relic altar? I don't think there is. Well, not here, at least, anyway. Alright, 2 items identified. Salvage bench this. Nothing can be salvaged. Talk to Zarka. And let's disenchant you. And 17% increased honor restored. I am going to keep that. Stash. Alright, so you are gonna go here. And I'm going to... You can go into the shard. You can go into the thingy-majiggy. I can't move those 2 things. So yeah, so these things are gonna be like sold or what have you.
I hear you. My wares are renowned. I shall put this to use.
The hooded one.
When I face his direction, there is a faint impression. Even the sun does not intrude upon my blindness, so this is a new sensation for me. What am I seeing from your strange companion?
Who knows?
Does the scorpion sting carry less poison at night? In the hopes of taking on fighting duty again, I am still practicing the art of the sword. Red-eyed Nassima, she of the second sight, proved that there is more to combat than mere vision. However, there is still honor in serving the role of tradesmith and weapon master. I served as a Dekara for as long as I was able, and I intend to fulfill this duty with just as much dedication.
Cool. Alright, so I already did the stun build-up. I can probably do more stun build-up. No skills affected. Increasing stun build-up, I've already got that. Increases melee damage, so instead of doing only 177 damage, it does 188. Increase melee, increases melee against heavily stunned. Break, 25% increased armor, increase area of effect for attacks. I'm gonna go for the area of effect one, to be real with you. I need more area of effect nonsense.
I hear you.
Yes. And what the fuck am I doing?
Makarkan. I must pursue what I feel to be right. Asala might yet decide to have me put to death, or abandon me to the doom of the desert. I know these risks, but I had to try. If you had seen the darkness rising in the hearts of my brothers and sisters, you... I can wait.
6,000 gold, and it costs like... Yeah, okay. Not really anything worth... Alright. So, Keth is a level 23 area, and the Valley of Titans is a level 23 area as well. And because I'm level 25? Yeah, I'm level 25, so I'm gonna keep being ahead of people, which I'm gonna keep being ahead of the maps, which is not great. God damn it. Also, this
barren place holds
the
an
material of
essence
these
of water.
headphones are not lasting.
Perhaps it is beneath the sands.
The weary traveler has reached the end of the path. Welcome to the city of 7 waters, whence bounty springs. Behold our lush plains and verdant forests, blessed to feed empires far and wide. Eat, drink, and be fat at your leisure, so long as you take word back to your homeland of the glory of Keth.
Did you know in One Piece there's actually a place called 7 Waters? Or Water 7, I think it actually is called. That's not important. What is important is that place has water. This place doesn't.
Tower! Out of mana!
What do you mean, out of mana? Oh, okay, so I found the other half of something or other. So, do these combine? No, they do not. Okay. I thought they would, but they don't. So, yeah. How was the streaming going, Bookie, by the by? I was lurking in your streams a little bit while I was at work, because, you know, work was a little bit dull for me, so I had a little bit of free time. We were doing Minecraft from the looks of it.
Shatter!
There we go. That was pretty good. That's how that looked. Come on. Ah. Excuse me.
Insect!
There we go. Nothing useful by any of you. Yep, this is going to be problematic. I am in under-leveled areas right now. I'm level 25 in like a 22 zone. And I feel like I'm not going to get any good tech because I've accidentally gone like too far into like my level. And I will not have the opportunity of finding like some good rarities for me. So yeah, I'm gonna probably have a bit of a bad time. I'm gonna have to, like, do research into what exactly this game wants me to do when it's like, oh, hey, if you don't have good loot in Act 2... At least I'm getting a little bit of gold here and there. Is that, like, the alternative? As we just start gambling? Hi there, Freckles! Happy Macro! Welcome to the stream! How's it going? I am currently, like, 8 meters tall right now because of some gifted bits by, Blighted Fading. So, yeah, I'm pretty big. How's it going? You doing good? Ignore the ears, like, feeling like they're extra twitchy. They're just how it is. You're good? You're just waking up? Nice. Chad, if you ever want like good furry art, you gotta go check out Freckles. They do some amazing stuff. Alright, look at this corn dog. Alright, so not here.
Shatter!
Alright, there we go. Yeah. Excuse me. Nose. How are... Oh yeah, you're just woken up. That's what you mentioned earlier, so... Yeah, we don't have much on that.
A snake woman.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm gonna be able to do plenty of damage to her, so shouldn't be too big of an issue.
Servant treachery!
Although, yeah, she's taking a bit of work.
Protect your queen!
Oh, so the fuck is my mark means? Oh, lower armor. Okay, that's not great.
No mana!
Shatter!
Okay, why couldn't I hit her, like, more than... Ah, that's annoying that she puts the wall up and it's like I barely have enough time to get the through the wall. Regal Shard, Book of Specialization,
and deadly place.
Laced boots do not help me, but sure. None of these help me, which is rather unfortunate. Darn. Wait, M is not map. I was using tab, and I was like, oh, that's not getting me my... Grants 2 weapon set passive skill points. Yep, alright, cool. So it gives me that. So now I'm able to do... Which way was I going? Oh, okay, yeah, I was going through this way to get, like, increased thingy-majiggy. So 1, 2, and then smash is, like, the next one I can go. So then that way goes into there, and then we combine into here. And then we can do another attribute. Gain 12% as extra fire damage. That one might be a good one to do. And then, what's this one? Increasing effect skill duration, increasing skill speed. Cost converted to... 6% of skill mana cost converted to life cost. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about all that nonsense. I think I'm gonna avoid that tree. And I'm gonna stick to going down this one. Which, let's see, does increasing... So I'm probably gonna avoid that. Increases damage with one-handed weapons. Have 10% chance to maim on hit. Yep, so that's a good one to do. And then that's more like blade nonsense. My goodness, I am barely going far. But look at this. Barely anything. Alright, let's see. Yeah, and I don't have the point, so yep, that's fine there. So ding and dong is cool. Oh yeah, wait, no, we were going up this way to see what was down this way. Ah, more of these guys.
Breach!
I need to come up with an item filter. So then that way a lot of these items that are not useful for, like, rarity-wise aren't useful for me, don't get picked up. Go. Anything up there? So, question for the viewers. Do I look bigger? Like, do I look like compared to, like, my normal thingamajiggy? Because, like, I will be frank with you. Like, this is me after, like, you know, lowering it down, like, lowering my avatar. Oh, don't load avatar. That's not what I want. Settings. But if I, like, move myself back to default with this close-up, I notice how intense you're always looking. Put a smile on. So yeah, this is what I look like, you know, when I'm just... Yeah, when it's just here. Also, I noticed...
them!
Bam. Boom. Also, yeah, the reason why I'm so intense is because I'm playing this game, which...
No way to keep that.
Where I have to, like, actually... It's a bit intense to follow. Alrighty, Alright, you know what? I'm gonna put one of the boots there, and then I'm gonna put... you here. You there. You there. You there. So then that way the club goes up like that. These go acrossward, so I don't really have... Yeah, I don't really have much to go on. Strength and dex, so this would give me armor and evasion. This gives just evasion. This gives armor and energy shields, but I don't have the intelligence for it, same as this thing. That's 100 gigabytes of Zeebs there. I am thankfully not that massive. I'm not 100 gigabytes to run my model. I'm like maybe a gig. But yeah, this is like kind of what it is. Not enough screen for all that Zeebs. Yeah, no, because it's Macro March. It's Macro March, Freckles. Because of cheers and subs, like I'm gonna get bigger. Now, granted, I'm not gonna be like, you know, this size all the time. I will like be down. I will be back to like my normal volume and what have you during like at the start of streams and aims and what have you. But I will be keeping track of how much viewers have like made me grow and such like that. And then the intention is that like once a week, like probably on like the Saturday if I'm free after after streaming or work, I'll do a render of like, oh, you know, after 1 week of streaming, this is where you find the Zeebs kind of thing. So, yeah. I need to figure out, like, how often I'm going to be streaming during this as well, because quite a few times now, I've been skipping out on doing, Friday streams, because... How am I running out of mana in this thing?
Crush them!
So, yeah, I need to figure out my schedule. Like, am I gonna, you know, keep it to only, like, 3 times a week? So, like, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday? Or am I gonna introduce a 4th day as an opportunity? Because 3 might be enough. You couldn't help yourself with the nut button. Of course you couldn't have. So, yeah. So, this is what, like, 7 meters is. And what's more is... Hang on a second. So, this is... Oh, no! I need to... Okay, hang on a second. I need to fix this. Hang on. Actually, no. I need to go ding, dong, ding, dong. There we go. Alright, so I need to delete that. And then I need to go and go copy, paste duplicate. And then... I'm moving this slowly down. And then this is gonna go into... Alright, so that's Break Room 2025. You know what? I'll make better ones. I'll make better ones in the future. So let me just hide that. Also, there's the game. So yeah, like look how fucking massive I am. I wish my hands didn't just like, you know, sit here. Like, I wish I had like a better position. Like maybe that's what I need to do. I need to set a pose. So then that way, you know, rather than having my hands like, you know, just sort of sitting forever at the, like at my sides like this, it instead needs to be like something like, you know, at the front here. But rather than, yeah, because you just see my hand like just going like, you know, twiddling my fucking thumb over here. But yeah, would you, so yeah, so question, would you prefer seeing like so without manipulating the camera or anything like that, would you prefer to see the Zeebs like, you know, at this position here where it's like, oh, whatever his height is goes up and up and up and up and up and up until, you know, obviously like this is where I am? Or would you prefer once I get to a certain height that we have to like move me down like here? So this, for example, is when I'm greater than 7 meters. I might make one where it's like greater than 5 meters or something like that. So then that way, you know, it still has me like, you know, pushing up to the top words or something crazy like that. But yeah. Option 1 or option 2 when I'm getting bigger. What do you want? What do you want, chat? Talk to me, Goose.
No chance!
Ooh.
My satchel is full.
Oh, fuck you. Also. Alright, so I do need to... Ding dong. It's annoying that I need to get energy... Like, I need intelligence for the energy shield stuff, but... Alright, giant glass, unidentified. You know what? I don't need the crossbow. Let me grab the leggings. So, brace sabotoon. So that's for dexterity. That's dexterity. Crackling quarterstaff. Face being visible is better. Alrighty then. Also, hi there, Masonic. Yeah, I'm a little bit bigger than normal. Happy Macro March. Oh, Shrine of what's Mahoozies? That is sound of horse. Jade Amulet, Laced Hood. Okay, so armor and energy shield is an intelligence thing. Emblem crest. Yeah. Alright, back up the stairs we go. You're okay with bigger Zeebs? Just more to love. Fair enough. Understandable. So, you can't see my chest because I'm not big enough for the position that the camera is in right now. And if I go down to the previous camera, unfortunately, you'll just see nothing but legs. So, and the himbo cam doesn't, like, the himbo and cake cams don't work when I'm scaled up and such, because those aren't like avatar based, those are positional based. Also, coming up in a minute is an advertisement. So if you're not subscribed or you don't have Twitch Turbo, you're gonna deal with ads. Perfect opportunity to subscribe. You can make me bigger. What time is it? It's almost 9 p.m. Once it crosses over 9 p.m., I'm probably gonna go and end the stream just because of the simple fact that, number one, I will be tired, and number two, I'll have been streaming for over 3 hours. Plus, it sounds like a lot of people in here are sort of just not interested in this stream. Should I buy Hardship, the spaceship scavenger game? No. Don't buy don't buy busy work games. Don't get life simulators. Yeah. My headphones are getting a little bit smelly.
Something like this.
With great ease, good sir. The Lost City is level 24. The Shrines is level 25. Yeah, this is gonna be real fun. So Bear Shrine is 25. Keth is 23. Let's head back to the caravan because you know what? This is probably a good spot. This is probably as good of a spot as any to end the stream here. Plus, I'm really curious what it will look like when we get to the What's Mahoozy spot.
Here for a story.
Alrighty, hooded one.
How can I be of...
Identify these items.
What?
What? Alrighty, get rid of you, get rid of you. Maximum life, mana, fire resistance, lightning, and a higher lightning resistance. You don't really help me out, so not really, you know, worth it. This would be good if I had higher... So, wait, armor 36 against 60. Ah. Shame. % of charge is gained. Yeah, alright. Jade Amulet. Dexterity and dexterity. Maximum life increases the rarity. Yeah, so...
Young one.
There we go. Alright, stash? Oh, I've got... Magic to rare. Augments a rare item with a new modifier. Well, I got 3 of those now, which is good. But yeah, okay, so I've got these 2 guys here that are for something. By terms of the 3rd pact, the Constrictor Queen was banished from Keth, but given the Eastern Sands. By term, the Sun Clan agreed to never again attack the Marraketh. The notches on the side await a connection. So... Recreate Horn of Susani, complete the thingy-madiggies, search the burial thing.
Need something? Publicly, I will decry them as loudly as anyone else. Privately, I understand. I do not, to be honest.
Alright, so how do we deal with the Ancient Vows? Oh wait, no, that's the Ancient Vows. You found 2 mysterious relics. Find a use for them. Yeah. Question. Am I missing a 3rd piece?
What have you learned?
Yeah, this guy's not gonna help me unless I want to do, like, crazier stuff, like refund my shit. And over here is where all the slaves are. They're all men. They do it for thick mommy milkers. Also, what the fuck is supposed to be over here? It's just a random corner, I suppose. Alright. You know what? I'm gonna end the stream here. The energy... I'm not feeling it. Also, look how huge I am now. Like, absolutely fucking crazy. Rah! Wonder what I would... So wait, if I'm, like, at full body... Yeah, it puts me at, like, this distance here. Ragdoll puts me all the way down here. Cake shows you nothing. Chess shows you, like, you know... This. This is where I would be for gaming, and this is where I would be for chatting. So yeah. So yeah, we got pretty big. We got pretty big. We got up to like what, 8 meters? 8.09 meters. We did pretty well. Glad you peeked for a bit. I'm glad that you had a quick look, Freckles. I'm sorry that we've not been able to view each other's like streams and what have you. I keep seeing notifications when you're online, but it's always at like 3 or 4 in the morning. So by the time I see it on my Discord and I go to the channel, it's like, oh, you're already done, because you know I sleep in until like 7:30 on weekends a lot of the time. Also, what in the world is with the It doesn't matter. Alrighty then. So that is it. That is going to be it for me. I hope you all had a wonderful time. I'm with the first day of Macro March, and for the blah 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 blah, and for a little bit of Path of Exile 2. I feel like I'm like sort of meandering through it right now. I need to find more time for it, quite frankly, to get like comfortable with the mechanics, either as a warrior or by picking up an entirely different class that's going to be a little more suitable for, like, you know, as a streamer, like being able to just click the button and do the attacks and what have you. So there's going to be that. Hopefully I'll still have weight loss and what have you. Lord knows I really would appreciate it, since I'm so close on the line between 106 kilograms and 107 kilograms. I'm going to be seeing my family tomorrow afternoon/night, so yeah, preferably want to stay under the 107 mark and stay within 106 or something like that. what we will do is we are going to go and raid into Wolk. Wolk right now is working on a 3D model for someone, and they look to be like a real thick muscle mommy. So we're going to get the raid started, and if you would like to join in, you're going to make lunch. Want some too? Nah, it's dinner time. It's past dinner time for me. And macro zebra raid. Sorry. Macro zebra raid exclamation point with the arrival. That is going to be our raid message. If you do not have the emotes, but you have like any others that you think might be suitable, there's the blank raid message. I'm going to be doing the arrival, and otherwise, I just want to wish I want to wish everyone a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. I hope you had I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the macro march. I'll probably put some details on Blue Sky in my Discord on, like, you know, the fact that it is live now, and that on-stream subs and cheers are going to be the best means for you to, you know, make me grow even bigger and such. Who knows? Maybe we'll surpass last year's record of 103 feet. So we'll see how we go with that. But otherwise, hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.